So this week we're talking about fear to courage, and I want to read something from Ernest Holmes. Fear and faith are identical in that the energy used in one is the same energy that is used in the other. Since there is but one final energy in the universe, and this final energy is the energy of thought. Fear is a positive acceptance that you shall experience that which you dislike. Faith is a positive acceptance that you shall experience that which you do like. But they are identical in this mental action. The only difference is in the direction. And so I know you've all heard fear, false evidence appearing real. And I found one for faith. Fear ain't in this house. Which I thought was really nice. I had come up with forget about it. Forget about it, think heaven or something. And then I thought, but heaven's not something that we necessarily believe in, because heaven's, or the opposite, is right here on earth. And so I threw that out and found one on the internet that kind of sounded better. So we're talking about fear to courage. How do we move from fear to courage? So how many of you have heard this statement? It's none of your business what other people think about you. How many of you spend a lot of time worrying about what other people think about you? Oh, come on. Am I the only person? Not that I live there, and yet I'm painting now, so I have a lot of time with myself and a wall and a paintbrush. And I can review, things that were said to me, or things like, reviewing the fact that we were switching up the morning service, and what were people going to think about the fact that we aren't going to be calling in the directions for a while, and we're going to be doing the declarations of principle, and worrying about that, and reminding myself, that's tomorrow, and you're standing here painting. It has nothing to do with what you're doing. And yet that is the busyness of our mind. Fear is really based on what has happened to us in our past, and how we think that is going to affect our future. And we miss this whole thing that's going on right here, which is called now. And so why do we do that? Why do we worry about what other people think about it? Something is as simple as people pleasing. I think that, somebody must have been passing out those pills when we decided to come and said, here, you really want to please people when you get there. It's really important, because a lot of people have that. They think if I'm just this way, everybody will like me. How many of you have somebody in your life that you absolutely adore? And how many of you know that there's at least one person on the planet that really doesn't like that person? And it's true. And so we spend a lot of time worrying about the people that don't like us, instead of focusing on what we love and admire about ourselves. Because I was gifted this great thing by Dr. Reverend Gail Stewart when she was down in New Mexico, and I went to speak at her center. She had about 15 people, and it was the first time I'd ever spoke in front of a group of people. I was doing my homiletics class, and because I'd missed a class, they told me I needed to go speak at 3 centers. And so hers was the first one. And I stood up there, and her husband is a professional speaker. And they decided to be there with me while I spoke. So little added, And afterwards, because we are lovely people. And I could have stunk. I don't know, but everybody came up and said, you are so fabulous. You are wonderful. I loved what you said. And afterwards, Gail pulled me aside and looked at me, and I share this all the time because I was like, ah. And she said, I don't want to diminish anything that those people said to you. It's very powerful. However, remember, someday somebody's going to walk up to you and say, really? That talk, what was that about? Did you even prepare? And she said, and I want you to remember, neither one of them is valid. You just feel better about one of them because it validates you. However, She said, if you step off that stage and you feel good about what you said and how you feel you touched people, that's all that matters. Now, so the first time I shared this with my community down in Santa Fe, they were like, okay, we'll never pay you a compliment again. I'm like, wait a minute. That is not what I said. I like compliments. I am human. However, we put a lot of stock into what people say about us, and it shouldn't make any difference. It really should. When we really own all of the things that Cynthia read to us today, our declaration of principles, when we live from that, when we know that, when we get, oh, I'm God in form. That person may have gone to medical school and is a heart surgeon, but I went to ministerial school. Or somebody else went to truck driving school. Or somebody else didn't go to school and they find their passion doing something else. We all are here because we were divinely called here. There is no mistake. Every single one of us is here because we said, yep, it's my turn, I'll go. And then somewhere along the line, when we are very, very young, and I have heard 3 years old, between birth and 3, we're told things about ourselves that make us go, oh, okay, well then I shouldn't do that. You know, I'm reading this book, and it is for sale in the Life Abundant bookstore, and it's called Creative Confidence. And the 2 men that wrote it had parents that absolutely believed this, that kids should be allowed to make mistakes. No, you don't want them running in the street. But one of the boys literally took apart a piano in his parents' home. Now, I know what would have happened if I'd done that in my parents' home. I probably wouldn't have got the piano taken apart. They were excited. They asked him, why did you do that? And he said, I wanted to figure out why it played. Now, imagine if each of us had been gifted that when we were young. Instead of, no, don't do that. You don't know what you're doing. And then we carry that, and it shows up in different places in our lives all the time until we go, well, wait a second. Is that really the truth of me, or is that 3-year-old telling me something that she or he learned that wasn't valid? It was just our parents trying to raise a child. I think it's amazing we're talking about fear to courage on Mother's Day. Raising children, there's not a playbook. I mean, maybe there is, but nobody handed me one. You know, they tried to get me to go to Lamaze class. I didn't have time. You know how my patience thing is. So it's, you know, there are gifts out there that people can give you, and yet I remember when I was handed my oldest son in the hospital, and I put him on my chest, and it was at group health, and the woman came in and said, you're not doing that right. And I said to her, he'll never know the difference. I'm the only mother he's ever going to have. And so, you know, and I tell you that because it is important that you realize we have these intuitive gifts, and we let other people tell us it's not true, or that's not how they would do it. And then we think, well, they must be right for whatever reason that we think they're right. Or we compare ourselves, like, why does that person look that way and I look like this? Because you're unique. That's why. It would be awful if we all looked the same, in my opinion. That would be boring. So think about the uniqueness of who you are and why you chose to come here. Because I think we all have a reason that we're here. You know, I was with a really dear friend yesterday, and she said, I just realized I'm here to do this, and it scares me. That all of a sudden in her life, she got lit up. And it scares her. And then what happens when it scares us is we call in somebody to tell us, well, you shouldn't do that. Or you can't do that, you're too old. Or you can't do that, you haven't had enough education. Whatever that thing is, we let other people take our passion that has been gifted us by the divine, and then we let them stomp on it. And we start to play small. Now, I know a lot of you in here don't play small, and I imagine some of you do, or you're not playing as big as you could. And there's lots of reasons you'll give yourself for that. I didn't go to college. My body hurts. Watch out. I'm going to share this. I don't know if it has anything to do to fear to courage, but I have another example of how the universe works. And I think it's important because it's one of the things we're talking about in Foundations on how powerful our word is. And so I guess it does have a lot to do with fear to courage. I have, for probably the last 3 or 4 years, complained about not exercising. I haven't exercised, I've just complained about the fact that I'm not exercising. Day in and day out, I should get up and I should exercise. I mean, you ask people that have been in classes with me, I'll walk with you, Gail. Joanne's offered to walk with me. Stacy's offered to walk with me. Kim's offered to walk with me. I'm still going home and sitting on my couch. And then I bought a house. So now every day I do my day job, and every night I go to this house and I paint. Because God said, you want exercise? I'll give you exercise. And you may think that's funny, but that's how the universe works. Watch what you say about yourself, about other people, about life. Because the universe will respond, and sometimes it responds that I could have gone forever and not realized that was an answered prayer. I'm tired of sitting in front of the TV and watching TV. Not sitting in front of the TV anymore. And to be awake and aware of enough to know, I created that. I created that in my life because I was tired of being a slug, if you will, my version of what I was doing. And I had lots of excuses, and I knew I wanted to change, and so it was my little kick in the hiney. And we get those, and then we think, that's so unfair. No, it's an answered prayer. Everything in your life is an answered prayer. And what we have to realize, is that an answered prayer that I said, or is that an answered prayer that somebody gifted me when I told them I wanted to do something, and then they stepped all over my dream and I believed them? So think about, whose prayer are you dancing to? What part of God in you isn't being fully expressed? And if so, why not? And that is part of Community First. I know we've talked about it. I am getting so excited because they're starting in June and we're like 15 days away. Is the fact that you're going to get to sit with people that are going to look at you and listen to you, and when you say to them, wow, I think I'm supposed to be doing this, instead of somebody saying, seriously? You can't do that. They're going to say, really? How can we support you? What is it you need from this group, from this community, that you can live the most outrageous life that you have ever dreamed of? What is that? How did that happen for Tamra? It happened because Darnita sent out an I am on Facebook and had created a fundraiser for her beloved. Because she knows that this is Tamra's calling, being the most outrageously wonderful teacher she can be, and seeing where there is lack in a school district and it's not going to get funded, which is sad that we have to do this, and yet it's the reality, so let's do it. So that is part of supporting and loving each other fully. That's part of being community. That is moving out of fear, I can't, to, oh, maybe I can. And if I have the courage to tell the people that see me and love me, this community, I know they'll support me in doing that. So what is your vision of yourself? Are you living the most passionate life you can? And if you're not, how can we support you? What is it that is calling you to step up and be God-informed without question, without doubt, and without fear? Because that is who you are. That is who you are. That's why we're reading the Declaration of Principles, so you can remind yourself over and over and over again. I am powerful beyond belief. I am here because I chose to be here. And I'm going to give up my stories about everything I was told as a child. And I am going to step into my adulthood, or if there's children's here, I'm going to step in and be loud and proud of who I am. No more excuses. That's what Genesis is about, in my opinion. If we're going to be a community that is founded and built on unconditional love, then this is our petri dish. This is where we get to be excited to put on new clothes, to be who we want to be. And then if it doesn't work, go, oh, that didn't work. I can make a different choice. How many of you are afraid to make new choices? I invite you to spend some time with me who makes new choices all the time. I really believe leap and build your wings on the way down. Now, for some people, that's really frightening. I get that. So, and what I know is you cannot not make a choice. If you're not making a choice, that is your choice. That is your choice to stay exactly where you are. And here's the deal about any choice you make. I have never made a choice that if it didn't work out, I didn't have the opportunity to make another choice. You have to believe. And if people go, well, I thought you were going to do this. Yeah, so did I. It didn't work out. So I'm going to do this. Oh, that didn't work out. So I'm going to do this. When you're fearless, it doesn't matter what other people say about you. Like, wow, I thought she wanted to do that. And I was gifted that a long time ago by somebody who switched jobs a lot. And somebody that we work with commented on the fact that, oh, there she goes again, she's switching jobs. And I'm like, she hasn't found her most perfect place yet. And when she does, she won't switch jobs anymore. But that's fearless. And so I invite you all to move from fear to courage, to truly start to be fearless in your life, because the world needs you. Genesis needs you. I need you. Not that that makes a difference, but we can change the world if we really start to live and breathe and own this philosophy. That was the gift I was given when I found it. I think that's the gift that everybody is given when they walk through the doors. And then we get complacent and we start to forget. So I am here to remind you, be loud if that is your personality. Be proud of who you are. Because I know that there's an energy in the universe that loves you no matter what, as I do. So let's take a moment and pray. And so just standing in this energy, this place of God, knowing truly that it is all there is. It is everywhere. It is above us. It is below us. It is around us. It is through us. It is that thing itself. It is the vibration that we feel when we breathe in and out. It is the beat of our heart in our body. It is that tulip when it starts to open up. God is in and through and as everything, and we are here to express it fully. And so what I know right here and right now is if it is me, it is all of you. It is everything, everywhere. And so knowing that, I declare without excuse, without fear, that every person here feels that energy within them and starts to unleash the passion that they were gifted the day they were birthed into this form. And when they start to feel that passion, that they start to express it. And when they do, they know they will be unconditionally loved by everyone around them, who will cheer them on and say, yes, that is your calling. Yes, that is why you're here. Yes, how can we support you? What is it we can do for you? That is community. That is Genesis. And I am grateful for all of that. And so knowing that, I turn these words over into the law of God, that place of infinite possibilities where we all get to play. Knowing that it has been seeded and planted and it is beginning to grow already, that the universe has already responded with a resounding yes. And so in that yes, I let go, I let God, and so it is. Namaste.